Well, I think that the MOU, which we call a Memorandum of Understanding, has actually turned into an MOMU, Memorandum of Misunderstandings on Misinterpretations, and MOV, which is Memorandum of Violations, by both sides. It is not only one side that is doing it, because there are various provisions which are there in this, and each one is supposed to be formulated and adhere to. Frankly, we have not seen either of the side really adhering to it, and they keep taking umbrage into one or the other. And now, obviously, the Strait of Hormuz has become a major cause of concern, not only for the combatant parties, but also for the whole world, because it is impacting the whole energy supply disruptions and all that that's taking place. So there was this sigh of relief that the world had had, and everybody wants it to be resolved peacefully. But then we see that the trust deficit between the two sides and the way they have read every aspect of it. Like the Lebanon war was the precondition, it is still continuing. The attacks here and there is still continuing. The Strait of Hormuz is still not safe for travel. There was initially the Americans agreed to lift sanctions on the Iranian oil that has been withdrawn yesterday. Now, obviously, this kind of a thing goes on, but you must also look at it that are they really keen to end this war? Or do they have any heft left for fighting this war? I don't think they have the desire or the kind of heft that is needed to carry on with this war by either of the two sides. So what they are trying to do is extract the maximum mileage by putting pressure on one or the other. In this war, and this has been very well documented, that very often President Trump's statements have led to a lot of money being made on the markets. Today, the oil is once again breached the $77 mark. So somebody is making money out of this also. So you do not know whether this will continue. This was last week. We had seen 1 week of flare-ups, and then everybody got quiet, and then again got talking. There were supposed to be talks in Doha again, indirect talks. And President Trump says that I don't think that I can talk. And he called all kinds of names. Now, as you know, that the threats are something that the Iranian gives the Iranians the pretext to behave abnormally. They say that there were not supposed to be any threats as far as this thing, but that's the way President Trump works. So the Iranians know very well, but then they take umbrage into that. But the worst part is that what the Iranian action at hitting, let's say, Qatari vessels or some other in the Strait of Hormuz on the Omani side is definitely a serious violation. Now, what does Iran want to show that it is in control of the whole of Hormuz? Now, that is something which is disputable, and how the Gulf countries are going to react will be also equally important in this regard. Well, of course, I mean, we have always known that not only for energy security, I mean, the region, its stability and security is of utmost importance for us. I always say that West Asia has an existential importance for India, not because we get only 50% of our energy supplies, 90% of our gas. We have about 10 million Indians there. There are choke points, 85%, 90% of our trade goes through the Strait of Hormuz and other choke points. So for us, it is very, very important. Now, but how do you cope up with that? I think the government of India has coped up very well by diversifying. Today, we are importing more than 40% of our oil requirements from Russia. When this was the Iranian sanctions on Iranian oil was lifted, we immediately started buying quite a bit of it whenever it was possible. We have diversified. We are buying from United States. We are buying from Brazil, from Argentina, from Venezuela, plenty of it. So India has already diversified a great deal. Plus, we have also, I mean, I was reading one of the tweets by former CEO of the Niti Aayog, Amitabh Kant, that on 6th of June, yes, India had already used half 50% of its energy supply was through the renewables. So that is something we are also focusing a great deal on new nuclear power plant. So as far as energy security is concerned, I think that India is well in its way. It understands the logic of choke points. So from that perspective, I think that we are very well placed and we are trying our best to do it because our dependency and economic growth both are on the supplies, smooth supplies, undisrupted supplies of energy to India. I think there are two things. Like President Trump said, that there is unlikely to be any outcome out of these talks, and he said he is disgruntled. Some time back, we have seen that IRGC and Mustafa Khamenei, when these agreements were being signed, had also said that nothing is going to come out of it. We can't trust the Americans. So there is a tremendous trust deficit. And there is a reason for that also. I mean, it is not that they have been two times they have been negotiating, and both the times they've been attacked. But IRGC probably is becoming a little more trigger happy, feeling a little more emboldened during this war, that they have been able to stand up to the two biggest powers, one regional power and the global power, and therefore they might be overestimating perhaps their strength. But as I said that today, uh, I don't think that any of them are ready for a full-scale war once again, which had started. So they will continue to have the breaches of this kind of MOU, and we will continue to see these spikes off and on, which will have an impact and uncertainty in the global markets and supplies. Now you imagine this thing that Qatar is mediating, right? In this now, it's the Qataris who are mediating in the talks being held in Doha. And now the Qatari two ships of Qatar were hit. Now, why did they hit? Because they were going through. Because Oman has come up with another, route, which has been agreed to by everybody. Because Oman has said that they will not agree to any kind of a toll being imposed. It was a free way, and 12 kilometers of this is controlled by Oman. So Oman had created another lane through which the ships could go. So when those ships were transiting through that, that's when the Iranians said, no, the whole area is under our control and we'll not allow that unless you have taken permission of IRGC. Now, that is something that is, they are treating it as a provocation, whereas in the international law, all these ships should be allowed because they are going through the Omani waters. Now, this is something during the course of war, it's very difficult to decide. And I mean, we always refer to something called UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. We are all aware that the United States has not ratified this treaty, but always invokes it. China has ratified the treaty, but always violates it. So this is an international problem of not abiding by the rule of law, and that is by our freedom of navigation. And that is why we are seeing these kind of breaches which are taking place with the might is right kind of an approach adopted by all sides.